Welcome back here on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM, live from Big 12 Football Media Days. Jackson Schneider, joined by the athletic director at Kansas State University, Mr. Gene Taylor. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the chaos that
Yeah,
is Media
it's
Days.
great to be here, and thanks for having me on. I missed last year's. I don't know, just the scheduling deal. So I really like coming. I think there's just kind of sets the tone, and obviously with Colin's first year, want to make sure not that he needs my help, but just be around for his first media days.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you've gotten asked this question a bunch, but what was that like? The process of bringing him back, and you didn't have his phone number at one point, or the updated one,
I
right?
didn't have the correct phone
Yeah.
number. I did. I eventually got it. It was really great. Obviously, it was kind of a strange emotional time. Right, you go from Chris telling you he's going to retire to within a couple of days having this big celebration of being Colin in, and we knew that if Chris were to go, that Colin was going to be high on our list, and being the fact that he obviously been here and kind of a mainstay for K-Staters, and when he left to go to A&M, he and I had a long conversation about how would he ever get a chance to come back here. I will promise you I didn't think it was going to be in a couple of years. But yeah, we got on the phone, had an easy conversation, and just went from there.
It's such a cool
Probably
story.
the easiest hire I've ever.
I was going to say, yeah, you probably didn't even have to ask, right? Or at least too hard, maybe.
Right.
Because I know some of those you got to negotiate
Oh,
and
yeah,
all the things,
yeah.
but such a cool story with him. But I know you mentioned how that's kind of a difficult process, because I know you and Chris were very close, and that's certainly not an easy thing to go through. And he was not shy about the emotional toll that last year had taken, especially
Yep.
on him. But just not just as an AD, but as a friend to him, what was that experience like for him, and how hopefully he's doing well now?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's helping me do some things. I serve on the football oversight committee, and every time we have an agenda item, I send out to him. He gives me his perspective from a coach of what he thinks would be good for us to talk about or bring up. So we've had multiple meetings. He and I did a little celebrity in air quotes thing in Fargo. They have a fundraising golf tournament. He's doing great. He's happy as a clam. He's not sure what his next move is going to be, but I think he's just going to take the fall and enjoy watching football with his wife, and then figure out what goes from there. But he's doing great. And when I've asked him a few times, he said, Gene, as much as I love K-State, it was just the right thing for me to do at the time.
Oh, I'm sure. And, that's the most important thing, right? You got to take care of you
Yeah.
and family. And I know that's very important to him. And
Absolutely.
but, changing the guard, I guess, from one great football coach to another great football coach. He hasn't coached a game yet, but we know all about Colin. But
Sure.
What maybe to you is the similarities or differences for K-Staters between Chris and now Colin?
They're just, first of all, they're great people, great individuals, and they care a great deal about the athletes, and they're going to do the right thing. I think they both value the tradition of K-State, although they put their own touches on it, and Colin's already started to put his own touch on it. But really believe in the culture and making sure the culture is right for K-State football and Kansas State University. So those things, obviously, both great coaches. Obviously, Chris is more of the defensive guy. Colin's is more of obviously clearly an offensive guy. But how much they cared about K-State and wanted to do the right things, those similarities are very strong.
Gene Taylor, K-State athletic director, is our guest. Now, do you remember an off season quite like this one in the Big 12? I've been racking my brain. I don't remember anything close to something this eventful in maybe ever.
Eventful is a good word. Yeah, I like that word. Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously crazy stuff going on, and I think we're through it as a conference. And I wasn't here yesterday when Tech was here, but I just followed kind of some of the things that being talked about. So I think it's one of those deals that in the world of college sports, or at least in our industry, as athletic directors, sometimes when we sit in a room, we don't always agree.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we walk out of the room and we're like, okay, do we make the best decision for the Big 12? And that was our whole point. And so, obviously, I'm going to be fine with Kirby and Joe. I've known Joey for a long time. But at the next we just have to move on, right? And let's do what's best for look forward to a great football season, no matter who comes out as on top. But I think this is a chance to. There's I think some really good teams this year, and so I think that's what our focus is right now.
Good. Yeah, and the future of college sports is uncertain in what exactly it will look like. I mean,
Right.
tomorrow is uncertain to a degree because everything is changing so quickly, and I know you have to work really hard to try to stay ahead of the curve in different ways. But this whole Protect College Sports bill is a big
Mm-hmm.
topic right now.
Yeah.
Could you fill us in on where you're at with all of this, and maybe what you think the tweaks that come with that will be?
Yeah, I think it's a great start, right? And the base of that bill is really, really good. There's a lot of good things that we all want. Obviously, you've probably read that the SEC wants a little something different. The Big 12 wants a little. So I think as it moves through the process, and I'm still learning about how this all works, at the federal level, we're all going to get a chance to sit down with our senators and say, okay, these are things that are really good, but this piece can be tweaked this way. The Big 12 always sends us out communication about, okay, here are some things when you talk to your representatives. These are the things we want to have in there. And there's so many good things in there that and again, it gets political. Obviously, you get Democrats and Republicans, but I think a majority of them see this bill as a really good base to keep to put for it to be able to move through as quickly as it has. Now we were kind of hoping it would get to the floor sometime in July, but I think each of us as conferences are having those conversations. Say, well, this is really good, but you might want to change this a little bit. And there's a lot, so I can't go into don't remember all the details we've talked about. But generally speaking, this bill, if it gets passed, I think is going to do a lot to hopefully calm things down in college athletics.
Good. And I think that's what a lot of fans want, right? Is just a little bit more continuity with the transfer portal and everything. And I know that's hard because you don't want to turn kids away from better opportunities or things like that. But it's kind of gotten to the point where we may be flying a little too close to the sun, right? With the constant turnover. But is there a thing that you think would be best for maybe limiting some transfers? Is it the one-time transfer?
Yeah, I think we did a really good thing with the age-based eligibility for 5 years. That was a great step, and I think that's going to hold up, and you begin to see more and more athletes that try to challenge it, getting turned down, which is a good thing. I think the next big step is the one-time transfer. I don't think any of us disagree that that's what we need. I mean, obviously, if you're graduate transfer, you can transfer, but a one-time transfer, and if you transfer a second time, you've got to sit out a year. That will control a lot of things. Basically, it'll control the agent's ability to talk kids into getting a transfer and bid them up for their next school because they're not going to have as many options. And I do think the 5 years, kids are now going to, I hope, kids start looking and go, wow, I've only got 5 years. I don't want to keep transferring, every year. So I'm those two things would be, in my opinion, really help, control things a lot more. And then the other thing is state preemption, which is in the federal bill, where a state can't pass a law that's a little bit more, friendly to their state as opposed to another state. I think, and the language in the bill, from my understanding, that language isn't strong enough right now. And I think there's some conferences that want to make sure that language gets a little bit stronger.
Okay. This is so something perhaps like where Missouri kids can get NIL earlier and things like that. I'm sure that'll all be a fun discussion when that comes down the line.
Exactly.
But Gene Taylor is our guest, athletic director at Kansas State. And Gene, I know we're at football media days, but you got a new basketball coach as well. Yeah. How's Casey and the staff settling in? I think to meet him at the Catbacker event a few weeks ago. But how are things?
Yeah, no, it's good. I haven't seen a lot of him. He's been busy this summer. He's gone, like you said, he's gone to a lot of events. When he goes and speaks at various events, I get feedback. Hey, we like Casey Alexander. He's really fitting in. He's great. He's funny. He's whatever. I think he's excited about the team that he has. I have not seen them practice yet, but I know I met with the team. Oh gosh, right as they came back. I think he's really excited about the team he has, and so I haven't again had a chance to go over and watch him, do their summer workouts. But what I've seen is impressive, and I think I like his staff. I think he's got a good mix of veteran and younger staff, and he's going to coach what he believes in, and he's going to go find players that fit that system. And I imagine we'll have some success, but it's early, and like I said, hadn't coached the game right now.
Yeah.
Both he and Colin are undefeated, so it's a good thing.
Hey, yeah, that's the best situation you got, right?
Yeah.
Undefeated, two
Two
coaching hires
coaches,
in one
yeah.
one summer.
Maybe I should
That's
just
pretty good.
drop the mic now and just
Awesome. Well, Gene, thank you so much. I know
yeah,
you're going to have
Jackson,
a
appreciate it.
busy day with Colin and the kids running around and everything. Got to manage that, but hopefully you get to relax a little bit and enjoy the day as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely appreciate it. Having me on. Thanks.
Of course. Gene Taylor, AD at Kansas State, here at Big 12 Football Media Days, brought to you as always by Phil's Coins and Bullion and Four Seasons RV. We'll be back with more right after this.